My name is Lisa, and I'm a stay-at-home mom living with my husband Noah and our adorable daughter Madison. The three of us make a happy little family. Noah and Madison are very close, and they're always playing together with lots of energy. They talk about all sorts of things and even do funny little dances together. Watching the two of them always lifts my spirits and gives me a sense of peace.
Thanks for the snack.
Thanks, Lisa. Your homemade cake is so good.
Yeah, it was really yummy.
I'm so glad. Everyone in our family loves sweets, and that makes me happy.
Madison's love of sweets is definitely inherited from me and Lisa.
What's Odin for Mom and Dad? Has Madison eaten it before?
Haha, not Odin. Madison's big appetite is definitely from Lisa.
Oh, from me?
There you go, you said Odin again.
Our home was always filled with smiles and happiness. Then, one day, we decided to visit my childhood home, where my father lives.
Hello.
We came to visit.
Oh, no. Welcome. And Madison, I'm so glad you came too.
How have you been? We couldn't visit last month, and Madison missed you a lot.
I'm happy we get to see you today.
Is that so? Well, Grandpa is happy too.
My father and Noah get along really well, and Madison absolutely adores him. Watching the three of them talk and laugh together always fills me with joy. After a little while, Noah took Madison to the nearby park to play, so, "Hey, Dad, why don't you move in with us?" Noah and Madison are both on board with it.
Move in, huh? Well, that's a kind offer. I appreciate that Noah and Madison are okay with it. But, Lisa, I'm really sorry. I'll have to turn it down.
Dad, are you hesitating? If that's the case, you don't have to worry about it.
Thanks for thinking of me. But you know, I've got to take care of the mountains and forests, right? So, I can't really leave this house behind. But, Lisa, thank you so much.
My father owned some forest land, which he took care of by himself. It was something he treasured deeply, so when we asked him about moving in with us, he turned us down. Even though Noah and Madison were a bit disappointed, we decided to respect his wishes. After that, we continued to visit him from time to time. About 6 months later,
What? Your father passed away.
the police just called. I asked them to repeat it several times, but they said there's no mistake.
No way. He was so full of life when we saw him last time.
I can't believe it either, but we need to head to my childhood home right away. It all happened so suddenly, and I was in complete shock. But there was no time to grieve, we had to start preparing for the funeral. We decided to keep the ceremony small, inviting only the people from the countryside who had been especially close to my father. But on the day of the funeral...
Wow, was our hometown always this much out in the sticks?
Wait, big brother. I didn't invite you, why are you here? And why aren't you wearing a suit?
What kind of sister doesn't invite her own brother, the eldest son? That's cold. Anyway, forget that. I got married. This is my wife, Rika.
Nice to meet you. Some bug just flew at me or something.
Suddenly, my brother Yoda, who had cut ties with the family after borrowing a large sum of money from our father to pay off his debts and then disappearing, showed up at the funeral with his wife, Rika. As I wondered what he could possibly want now.
I can see that look on your face, wondering why I'm here.
Well,
I came to talk about the inheritance. The inheritance.
hey, keep it down. We're in the middle of the funeral.
Listen, you're going to renounce your claim to the inheritance. As the eldest son, it's rightfully mine.
That's right, sweetie. You just need to shut up and do what Yoda says.
Excuse me? Renounce my inheritance?
Dad owns some forest land, right? If I inherit that and sell it, I'll be rich.
It'll be amazing. We can party all we want.
Can you please be quiet? All you care about is money.
Shut up. Who cares about some old man's funeral anyway?
He's in heaven now, so he doesn't need the land anymore, right? Spending time on someone who isn't even alive is pointless.
What are you saying?
Anyway, Lisa, you're giving up your share of the inheritance, got it? Oh, and I just got married, right? So you better give me some wedding money too.
First the inheritance, now wedding money.
Got a problem with that? If you refuse, Rika and I will cause a huge scene and ruin the whole atmosphere.
Yoda, you are crazy. But you know what, that actually sounds like fun.
Even though we were in the middle of the funeral, watching my brother and his wife joke around and laugh so carelessly. Fine. I'll give up my claim to the inheritance.
Really? Wow, Lisa, you're surprisingly cooperative.
She must really not want us to ruin the funeral. Yoda's sister must be such a daddy's girl.
My father was a man of integrity, and that's why everyone loved him. So I'll never forgive anyone who dares to disrupt his final farewell.
Ugh. Don't act so high and mighty. Now hurry up and give me the wedding money.
I can't right now. I don't have any cash on me. You'll have to wait.
Don't mess with me. There's no later. Hand it over now.
Whatever. I'm getting all the inheritance anyway, so I'll let this slide.
Yeah, fine. We'll let it go just for today.
How generous of you.
Now that that's settled, let's go buy a luxury car. Time to celebrate.
My brother Enrico left in high spirits after hearing that I had renounced my claim to the inheritance. Thanks to that, the funeral went smoothly, and we were able to say a peaceful goodbye to my father. A little while later, when my father's 49th day memorial arrived. What are you doing here? Today is Dad's 49th day memorial service. If you came here to cause trouble or make a scene like at the funeral, you can leave right now.
What the hell are you talking about? That stuff doesn't matter anymore. It's because of you that I'm buried in debt now.
That's right. What are you going to do about it? Take responsibility.
Oh? Drowning in debt? I'm sorry, what exactly are you talking about?
Dad's mountain land. Sure, I found a buyer, but the price was ridiculously low. No one told me it'd sell for such a stupidly low amount.
Mountains aren't exactly valuable. Did you seriously go on and on about the inheritance without knowing the market?
With land that big and such a huge mountain, obviously we thought it'd sell for a high price. In fact, it should have sold for a lot.
Well, unless it was a mountain that produces loads of top-grade matsutake mushrooms every year, that'd be a different story. But if it's just a big, ordinary mountain, it's not going to sell for much.
You stuck me with a worthless inheritance. Are you kidding me?
That's a ridiculous accusation. And besides, weren't you the one who told me to renounce my inheritance? I gave it up for you, so you've got no right to complain.
That mountain, not only did it sell for cheap, but there's been a landslide too.
Well, it is the rainy season, so landslides are more likely to happen.
Oh, great, thanks for that obvious fact. But that's not helping. I may have sold the land, but the ownership was still mine. The landslide sent mud onto the nearby farmers' land. Most of their crops were ruined.
Well, that's what happens when a landslide hits.
Now they're suing me for damages. I even consulted a lawyer, but he said there's no chance I'll win and that I should just give up.
My brother was in serious trouble after selling the forest land our father had owned. But it was his own decision to inherit everything by himself. Considering the farmland damage, I'd say the loss amounts to a few million yen at least. Ouch.
Exactly. Because of that, I'm drowning in debt. And it's all your fault, Lisa. This is your responsibility.
Enough of this nonsense.
Nonsense.
Noah. Madison too. Why are you both here?
I heard your heart crying for help, so Papa and I rushed over.
Thank you, Madison.
Look, Yoda, you're the one who kept pushing for Lisa to renounce her inheritance. You got exactly what you wanted, so there's no way any of this is Lisa's fault.
I don't care. Anyway, the cost of clearing the land and the compensation I'm being sued for, Lisa, you're going to pay for all of it.
Why would I pay for that? I'm not responsible for any of it.
Yes, you are. I'm the eldest son, and I say you are, so that's the end of it.
That's right. You're the little sister, so you better do what you're told.
You two are completely ridiculous. No matter how you look at it, you inherited everything just because you were after money, without knowing a thing. So don't put this on me. I have zero responsibility, and I've had enough of your nonsense.
I never thought the inheritance would lead to more debt instead of profit. And how was there no cash in the inheritance? It doesn't make sense. There's no way that huge forest land didn't have any money attached to it. That's proof Lisa must have taken it.
You really were cut off from the family, weren't you?
What the hell do you mean by that?
Dad had it all planned out. He used various systems and strategies to give everything away as gifts while he was still alive. Before my father passed, he carefully researched and arranged for me to inherit his cash assets through lifetime gifting. My brother Yoda and Rika had no idea about this, so.
Lifetime gifting? Why didn't you tell me right away?
How was I supposed to contact someone who was completely out of touch and unreachable?
It's about money. You should have done whatever it took to track me down. That's just common sense.
Honestly, Yota's sister doesn't seem to have a shred of common sense.
Say whatever you want. I'd rather be considered unreasonable than see Dad's important inheritance go to people like you and Rika.
Don't act so high and mighty. If you've got the money, then you can cover the compensation, right?
Exactly. And why should you be the one to inherit the cash anyway?
It's because Dad had a chronic illness.
What? A chronic illness?
Yes, his health was deteriorating. So, to make sure Lisa and I wouldn't be burdened if something happened to him, he carefully planned everything. That's why he left the inheritance to Lisa.
That's completely unfair. I'm family too. How could you and Dad leave me out like this?
It's so cold of you and your father to make such decisions without even consulting Yoda. Leaving everything to Lisa without a word to Yoda. It's just wrong.
Dad wanted you to have the forest land in the first place, you know?
He knew he didn't have much time left and wanted to take care of everything before it was too late.
Is that even possible?
Why don't you go ahead and read his will? Maybe then you'll understand how he felt.
That sounds like a pain.
Yeah, and honestly, reading a will just feels unlucky or something, don't you think?
It seemed like my brother and Rika had some misconceptions about the will.
Listen, a will is something a person writes when they've accepted the possibility of death. There's nothing unlucky or bad about your father writing one.
Oh, is that so?
Hey, Uncle and Auntie.
Or, aren't you cute? I can't stand your parents, but you're adorable.
Well, what is it, sweetheart?
So, Uncle, you don't have any money, right? And you asked Grandpa to lend you money, but you didn't pay it back, and you never came home either, right?
Well, yeah. Uncle was just so busy, so I couldn't come back home, you know?
And it's big sister, not auntie, okay?
And Auntie, you never told Uncle, maybe you should go home once in a while, right?
Ahem. Well, I suppose that's true.
And even on the day we said goodbye to Grandpa, you left early, didn't you? You left without even seeing Grandpa's face. So, why don't you read the letter Grandpa wrote? No matter how many wishes you make on the stars, you won't ever get to see Grandpa again, you know?
Well, Uncle doesn't really need to read stuff like that, sweetheart.
Isn't that why you're having so much trouble now? Because you didn't talk to Grandpa? I know a word for that, jagujadoku. You reap what you sow.
After Madison's sharp words, my brother and Rika were left stunned.
She's starting to remind me of the old Lisa.
Of course she does. She's my daughter. But, big brother, isn't what Madison just said spot on? Maybe it's time for you to face things with Dad properly.
Shut up. What do you mean, face things? Dad left me this worthless trash to inherit.
That trash was something Dad worked hard to take care of.
So what? It's worthless, so it doesn't matter.
Enough, both of you. That's enough.
Yikes!
Is it just me, or is Yoda's sister really scary?
You finally show your face after all these years, and all you care about is money. You borrowed so much money from Dad to pay off your debts, and you never paid him back a single cent. Now that you're back, you're only after the inheritance. That's why karma came back to bite you.
What did you just say?
You left all the funeral preparations to Lisa. I understand how that felt now. Honestly, if I were him, I wouldn't want to leave anything good to people like you either.
Excuse me. What's that supposed to mean?
It's exactly what it sounds like. You don't care about anything but money, and you're not even willing to work for it.
It's because you broke your promises, isn't it? If you'd come back to repay Grandpa, maybe you'd have gotten some money now.
After even Madison called them out, my brother and Rika seemed to finally realize they weren't going to get any money.
Please, Lisa, we can't pay the compensation. Neither me nor Rika.
Just give us a share of the inheritance, even if it's just enough to cover the compensation.
No! You'll just disappear again as soon as you get the money, like always.
I swear this time I'll pay it back. We won't run off again.
If you really mean that, then why don't you start by repaying the money you borrowed from Dad?
How can I repay someone who's not here anymore?
Why don't you contribute through Furusato Nozii, hometown tax donations, or something? I'm sure Dad would appreciate that.
That's pointless.
Giving you two money is what's truly pointless.
Please don't say that. And could you help us with the forest land too?
You inherited it because you wanted it, so take care of it yourselves.
Yota and I can't handle it on our own. Please help us.
You're married now, so the two of you should work together. Come on, newlyweds.
Don't tease us. We really can't manage it on our own.
You haven't even tried yet. Don't you at least want to try doing something before giving up?
Fine, we'll try, but could you at least help us out with some of the inheritance?
Yes, please. Just enough to cover what we need.
Absolutely not. I'm cutting ties with you, big brother. I'm not giving you a single cent of Dad's precious money. Now, if you understand, get out. We sent my brother and Rika away. In the end, they had to pay the compensation for ruining the farmers' crops. Although they sold the forest land quickly, the compensation amount was far greater than the sale. It wasn't something they could handle just by working. The farmers whose crops were destroyed were furious, and no matter how many times they apologized, they were not forgiven. To pay off the compensation, my brother and Rika borrowed money from everywhere they could. In the end, they were buried in debt, struggling just to survive. Their greed had led them to a miserable life, not with riches, but burdened by debt. My brother and Rika eventually lost their home and ended up living a tragic life, constantly on the run from debt collectors, with nowhere to go but the streets. As for us,
Do you think Grandpa is having fun chatting with Grandma in heaven right now?
Yeah, maybe he is.
I can't believe Dad took care of all that land by himself for so long.
Your dad was incredible. I need to step up my game too.
Hey, Papa, how did you and Grandpa become such good friends?
How did that happen again?
It's because you both love sweets. You hit it off right away when you first met over your shared love for treats.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. Good times.
Then let's put lots of sweets on Grandpa's altar as an offering.
Madison was thinking about what my parents might be doing in heaven. Her casual words made me look up at the sky, imagining my father. In my mind, he was smiling, happy to be reunited with my mother. I was certain he was smiling even now, up in heaven. As I thought about that, I glanced over at Madison and Noah, who were happily chatting together. Seeing how much fun they were having, I felt a renewed sense of happiness. I was filled with gratitude for my father's kindness, for thinking of me and caring for me until the very end. If you enjoyed this video, we'd be thrilled if you subscribed to our channel. Subscribing means you'll receive notifications for new videos, keeping you in the loop with all our latest content. Your support is vital to our growth. Let's enjoy and grow together.